Hello. Good evening, everybody. Today we have an awesome guest here. Her name's Angela Redding. She's a New Jersey mom. She's backstage right now. She was a guest on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. She had a couple minutes on there to kind of describe what happened to her. Basically, her backstory is. Hold on. A couple minutes on there to kind of describe what happened to her. Amateur move. Look at this, amateur night for me. So basically, she had a child in elementary school, I think a 7-year-old, and they were teaching her about polysexual and pansexuality. She had an issue with it, made a Facebook post, and she made a Facebook post, and the military and police department got involved. So without further ado, let me see if I can bring her in the room. Let's see. Angela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show and trying to give us a little insight on your incident. It's unfortunate that you had to go through that in the first place, or any parent has to really do this right now. But yeah, if you'd like to give the viewers a little breakdown about what happened to you, in case they didn't hear it on Fox or whatever, I got a lot of different crowd in here. So yeah, if you'd like to take the stage, let them know what happened.
All right, thank you. So yeah, Fox, like you said, was only a few minutes, so I certainly couldn't share everything that happened. It's certainly far more complex and a little bit more mind-boggling than probably most people who heard the story understand. So essentially, it all started when I took my 2 children to math night at the upper elementary school. That's where our district hosts all school-wide events. So while my kids don't go to the upper elementary school, which serves 4th through 6th, that's where all like family events take place. So it's where the auditorium is. So while we were there, my daughter was looking at, in the entrance of the building, a wall of posters, and she asked me what a polysexual was. Okay. And I was just very angry, and I looked at the wall of posters, and just scattered across the wall were terms like polysexual, pansexual, agender. I mean, things that I actually had to look up on my phone to know what they were. And we reached out to the superintendent. We reached out to a board member named Casey Noble, who was our friend at the time. And we reached out to actually one of the parents of the kids who made the poster. All 3 of them said to me, this is what it is, Angela. Your kids are going to be exposed to these terms. You need to just be forward thinking and essentially just teach your kids what polysexuality is. Like, what is your issue? Wow. I did not accept that. So I shared online with like-minded parents on New Jersey Fresh Faced. It's a Facebook site that was started during COVID. And it's just like where parents share concerns. Sometimes people give ideas, suggestions. I just really needed to vent, but I also wanted other parents to hear the story. What happened after this, and this is the crux of the story, is really crazy. So sometime after I posted on this Facebook page, and again, my post, anyone can see it now. It was very moderate and normal. Sometime afterwards, the military gets involved, and the military sends correspondence to the local police department. And the local police department, the chief of police took it upon himself to then contact this Facebook group administrator and say, I think maybe you should take this post down. It's causing some problems. We don't really like it. I didn't know the Facebook group administrator. She reached out to me, told me what happened, said the police chief said the post needs to come down. And then the military is involved. So to stop me anytime, because I could talk forever.
No.
Okay.
No. Actually, that was Lieutenant Colonel Christopher Schilling, I think.
Get to that. He's not even in the picture yet. This is why I think your viewers need to know how deep this is. And I just want to let everybody know that I am working with a national law firm to deal with all of this, because it's so much deeper than what was on Fox News. Yeah. So Chris Schilling's not even in the picture yet. Wow. Yeah. So we don't even know. We're right now trying to figure out who sent the correspondence from the military base to the police chief. We're putting in FOIA requests and different types of,
Yeah.
legal maneuvers to figure out. But somebody from the base, someone in leadership from the base, sent correspondence to the police chief, and then the police chief took it upon himself to get involved with the situation. And at that point, the post was down. I was really upset about what just happened. I'm a law student, so I knew something was wrong constitutionally speaking. So I reached out to the police chief and I said, I want to remind you of the First Amendment. And I sent him an entire overview of the First Amendment and that he violated the law by using his title as police chief and government interference. It's sad that as like a third-year law student, I had to educate our local police department, but I did that. He calls me. He says, "Oh, no. I didn't force anything to come down. It was just a suggestion." Well, yeah. I mean, when the police chief calls you and says the military's involved, there's not really a choice, right?
Oh, yeah.
So after that, this is where a military official starts posting online and saying the military is taking this very seriously. They've activated local and state agencies. And so his name, Chris Schilling, he starts posting all of this online, and it looks like it's coming from the base. I'm like so scared.
Of course.
And then he starts calling me an extremist. He puts out this petition about me, calling me an extremist. And anybody that came to my defense, he just pretty much attacked them.
Attacked as well. Yeah. That's the common thing nowadays, is anyone who stands up is attacked, and then the supporters are attacked, no matter what the age or business or I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. So, I mean, at this point, just so your audience, and I could tell you, just even community response, how I think there's a broader conversation here of how parents and just anyone with different viewpoints were silenced. I'm actually writing an article right now called The Silenced Majority, not the Silent Majority, because we really are a majority, but we are silenced using tactics like this, where the military and the police are getting involved and saying that my post was going to cause a school shooting. I mean, these were the kinds of things being put out online because I criticized the public school system for having a poster about polysexuality on the wall. I'm somehow responsible for whatever school shootings take place. I'm a terrorist. I've been called a satanic terrorist. So they're using all these techniques to silence us. I refuse to be silenced, and I'm going to go public with everything that happened to me and hold those accountable so this doesn't happen to anyone else in our state or country.
No, it's absolutely granted, and we appreciate you standing up for not only your community, but in a whole, the children and the communities all over the place. Your voice resonated with me because it actually caused me to look further and deeper into my son's school system, and he's in 8th grade. But I looked in the elementary school system too in that area, and what they do in there is they have like elective classes where they'll teach LGBTQ and, stuff like that. So you can take them as electives, but it doesn't say that for the elementary school kids. So I think a lot of what's going on is they're kind of hiding it in the school. They're not really announcing that they're doing it, and they're slipping it in. And, the kids are coming home with questions, and they're at a vital age in elementary school. They're at a vital age. They're like sponges. And they'll believe anything you tell them. Dragons are real. You can be president, whatever. You can tell them, and that's their imagination. You're supposed to feed the imagination, but at a certain point, the imagination has to come to reality, and they have to grow and be adults. And they're kind of stunting that. I think nowadays.
I think your viewers, they're probably mostly New Jersey. I'm not sure, but okay. Well, parents in New Jersey and just across the country should be aware. And just to give a little background too, before going to law school, I spent 10 years working in public education. So I was an educator and then school administration. And a 2-term school board member. So this is my area of expertise. And what I can tell you is what's happening in our schools. You need to pay attention because it's not going to be a class. Yeah. Like your 3rd grader's not going to be enrolled in LBGT class, but there are laws that have recently been passed where essentially this stuff is mandated to be in the curriculum, and not just the health standards. I feel like there's so much focus on the health standards, which are egregious. I agree. I disagree with them. I will opt my kids out if they stay in the public school system, which they won't. But parents should opt their kids out from it. Know what your school's doing. But it's the other standards that mandate this type of information throughout the entire curriculum. And this is
Yeah.
why parents we almost have no power without coming together respectfully and pushing back with our state legislature and saying this is wrong. We need to have standards that are age appropriate, and we need to have parental transparency, because if not, my story of what my second grader saw, it's just going to be every day. And it actually is happening every day.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, and they're throwing it in our faces. And like, listen, back in the day when I went to school, it was a thing. Like, if people were different sexes and they liked different people, and it wasn't forced for us to understand it. It was something either you understood, or, there's some people out there that they disagree with it. It's against their religion. It's against their beliefs. And they're entitled to that. Within the United States, you're allowed to have that opinion, It just seems like it's being jammed down our throats. Every commercial and TV and movie and everything nowadays is focused around like a rainbow flag or something, And I mean, I don't mind. Do what they want. It's the same with the thing, and this and all that, with the last couple of years. Everyone's entitled to do what they want, but don't make us do it. Leave us to have our own choices, and don't look down on us because we don't like it. That's our choice, just like it's their choice. And it should be optional. Yeah, it should be an optional thing in school if you choose to want to look into that or not. Just like wood shop. Some people don't want to go to wood shop, and some people are like, I like to, carve wood. It's the same thing with religion. Some people like to go to church, some people don't. It's like, but no one's forcing any of that on us. It just seems to be one topic that they're really banging home, and
it's unfortunate because, and like I went back to this whole notion of the silenced majority. They silence us by characterizing us a certain way when we speak out. I've made it very clear, even in my original post, I think all people are deserving of love and respect. I don't care how you identify. I don't care who you love in your life. That doesn't impact me. And I teach my children that no matter who you see, they're deserving of love and respect. So that's really what needs to be taught in our schools, instead of this ideology, this left-wing ideology where my kids have to learn about every sexual identity and every gender. That is wrong. But what happens is, because I spoke out and I said I don't want my second grader learning or seeing polysexuality, pansexuality on the school wall, I have been called a bigot. I have been called anti-gay. We just recently had a school board meeting, and I don't even know how this is legal, but the superintendent and the attorney allowed public comment for parents to come up. Parents, like, I'm just a mom, okay? Parents came up to the mic, and all they did for over an hour was essentially claim how I'm anti-gay and how I'm making gay people unsafe, and gay people are going to die because of me, and gay people are going to get beat up for me. I had grown adults getting on the mic professing to the audience how they were gay, and I'm sitting there like, what are we talking about? I didn't say anything about being gay or that it was wrong to be gay. I just said my 7-year-old shouldn't be reading polysexuality or polysexual on the wall of an elementary school. Like, that's the crux of the issue. But what they do is the gaslighting, where they'll flip it and make it like you're a bigot. Like, you hate a group of people, and it's not even about that. So people need to push back on that, and they need to say that's not the issue here. The issue is not hating a group of people or disliking a group of people. It is truly about what's age appropriate for the health and safety of our children. Like, that's really all it is. My 7-year-old doesn't need to know about individuals who like to have sex with multiple people and multiple genders. Like, my kid can't be, no, my kids can't be accepting. That's what they said. This was all about acceptance. My 7-year-old cannot be accepting of polysexuality or polysexuals because they don't know what sex is. We have an elf on the shelf flying around my house. That's what my kids care about and what they know about. So to ask them now to take on these adult concepts and then be accepting of it, I don't know how we can do that to our children.
Yeah, it's like programming and grooming. It's almost like we want them to accept a new future in which all this is normal, and it's almost like a giant Woodstock they want, where anybody can just do whatever they want. And I mean, we have to get back to our values, I think, as like, family values. It seems like these are slipping away, and like no one's doing anything to get them back. And the kids don't really know anymore. They haven't grown up with traditions and values, and some don't grow up with fathers and mothers. Grandparents are raising them, and the grandparents are too tired to do anything. No one's watching them. What happened is, they call it the lockdown generation, where they don't really know this outside world and how to function in it. It's more of like a digital world, and they're being exposed to all this stuff even worse online, in like the VR games and all these games that they're playing. They're really being exposed to it. And, parents got to really stay involved with their kids' lives and do more research into their school systems and see what they're being taught, and, see what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm praying that anybody, I'm trying to figure out, the next school board meeting, we should have a whole bunch of people come out for you on your side.
Yeah. I would love that. It's weird because before the meeting was last Tuesday, I didn't advocate for that because I went, because if I'm going to be slandered, if I'm going to be defamed, you're going to say it to my face. So that's why I went, because I was going to sit there because I refused to be bullied. So I wanted them to say it to my face. And I also wanted an opportunity to speak, which I did. But now moving forward, I think we definitely need like-minded, respectful people to come out and say, this is wrong, we disagree with it. And what's interesting, the people that spoke at the meeting, most of them did not live in my town, which is, and so that's the whole thing. So yeah, people should come out, even if you don't live in my town, because we all need to support each other. But we do, this is a cautionary tale here. We have to be respectful. We have to be 10 times better than them. Because at the meeting, I was cursed out. I was put down. We have to be better than them. We have to be poised, articulate. We can't use terms like pedophiles. And I don't even like the term groomer. I think I understand why we use it. It's political grooming. It's ideological grooming. But I don't think the teachers that we're talking about or the administrators.
Pedophilia.
I don't think they are grooming in the sense of how grooming was originally coined, is that like you are actually sexually grooming. But I do think it's ideological grooming for sure. But we definitely need to support each other, and we need to come together, because we are the silenced majority. We are silenced because of what they do to us, what they do to you if you do speak out. This isn't the first time I spoke out against quarantines, lockdowns. I don't know if your audience is aware, but I was a regional school board member.
Oh, nice.
And I recently resigned, and everyone's like, oh, you resigned because they must have bullied you out of the position. I said, no, I resigned because as a board member, your First Amendment rights are semi-limited. So I would, at my full ability, to speak out against what's happening in our state, and I will help people run for school board, but I'm much better suited behind a screen, behind a mic, writing. So I want to be able to use my full First Amendment rights. But anyway, I've been speaking out for years on issues, and I've had people call my job, call my school, send letters. They're relentless. They will destroy your life and you speak out. And it's because nobody will back me up. There's only like a small group of people that will. If we all come together and we say no, they won't have that power anymore. But so people need to stop being quiet. And stop making people like me take all the wrath. Stand with me, speak with me, and we can make change.
I mean, where can we send these people? When's the next meeting? Do you know when the next meeting is? Or
I'll have to send it to you. I did, because it's not even something I thought, but that's definitely one way. To support.
This is networking, when it comes to this movement, when it comes to getting our freedoms back and really being able to use our First Amendment, this is where it starts. We got a network. We have a huge network here with this freedom movement. We were involved with the Freedom Convoy that went across the country. We were inspired by Ottawa up in Canada when they had their little, their protest. So we've been involved with this fight. I was involved with that prior, when the small businesses and everything got shut down in New Jersey. We started fighting back. We had a protest up in, more of a rally up in Randolph, New Jersey, at the tennis courts. with Jenny Rogers. She's another good person to get involved with. But we did that because of Tillis Gym down in Belmar. They got shut down. They were fighting to keep the doors open. And we decided, hey, let's throw a rally. Let's get, people together. It was on private property, so we didn't have to do this. But we got infiltrated by the police. They gave us fines. We fought them in court and beat it. But we've been fighting for a while. And we're doing the same thing. And it's all about really our kids' future. I mean, if something were to happen to us tomorrow, I don't want to leave my son in the hands of these people right now, because this is insane. And and in New Jersey, we got hit pretty hard during the last 2 years with different stipulations and those M words and all that other stuff. And Murphy didn't go easy on us by any means. So but basically we got to do what you're saying is stick together. But this is the place to do it. My viewers, a lot of them have their own channels. So your information is going to go up to their channel. They're going to promote your stuff. So they all help me out. Everyone in here, we got 83 people. We're building. YouTube likes to take content like this and just shove it down and kind of keep it in the back corner, because they're like, oh no, he's at it again. But more than likely, the police are always watching stuff like this, and the feds and all that. So I just say hi to them, and we're not going to stop. We're never going to stop.
And your viewers should know that even if you're just an average mom like me, who I don't really, while I speak out, I certainly have never ruffled feathers per se. It's not like I'm on YouTube. I'm very mild on social media. So if they can do this to me, I mean, think about it. The military were activated as soon as I posted on Facebook, and they contacted local police. So it's not scary. It's not just people like you who listen, the government should not be monitoring you, but you're putting yourself out there, you're creating content. So there is some level of, you're putting yourself.
I respect it. Yeah.
When you're a mom, when you're a mom and you're just posting on a parent page, you certainly do not expect that the federal government is going to get involved and call you an extremist and do all these things to you. So it's really scary, the governmental overreach. And that's why I'm working with council. And I'm hoping that we can hold individuals accountable. I think the Twitter files, all this stuff coming out now, will just show how much the government is overreaching and encroaching on our First Amendment rights and trying to characterize and silence us so that we don't have a voice. And we just need to, again, respectfully say, no, we are going to continue to speak. And that's what I hope to do. I've made it my mission after what I've been through the past few weeks that I'm not going anywhere. I am going to capitalize on this time to get people to come together. And all the people in my community who have tried to destroy my life. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to be louder and more organized. And that's really what we need, because they are. Your viewers should know that I'm sure the other side is so organized. They are so organized.
When they want to fight against something, we've been going head to head. We were in DC protesting and down in Hagerstown. I've been to multiple different state capitals. We've been all over the place. And the one thing that stays consistent is we throw it together quick, because we're kind of responding to what's going on. They're already set up. They got the heads up. They got the buses, and they drop them off, and everyone's got their signs and umbrellas and masks. And we're like, hey, look, anybody got an extra something? But you're right. We have to be a well-organized machine. And that's the hardest part, is really organizing everybody to come together. And it shouldn't just be, left or right. It really, we're all getting screwed, and we need to start speaking in a different language, maybe in different, like you were saying before, the terminology of groomer, and the whole, we got to start really talking we all, not like the right or, because it really separates us. And it's these people that might see it from our point of view now are well, they're bashing us. It's I'd join and I'd help, but it's man, they just keep talking about and it's really just extreme parts too. We're being labeled extreme right, or Trumpers or whatever. Everybody always has a label. It's we're not. I mean, they're trying to wrap us up with Proud Boy groups and all these
Yep.
other groups, because they can't label us, because we're just diehard American patriots that really stand up for what we believe in, and you can't kill our spirit. And so they do everything they can. I've had thousands of trolls come through this room, and they've all tried, and I'm still here. They can't get rid of me. We've been head to head with the police down in DC, and you're right. You have to have a respectable rapport with these people. You have to talk with a certain level of intellect, because if you sound ignorant and you're just swearing and yelling and repeating yourself, you don't get anywhere, and nobody understands why you're there.
Yeah.
So you're right.
I mean, I don't, and that's not to knock. Listen,
Yeah.
everyone has their own style, and as I consider myself a constitutional conservative, so I believe that everyone has the freedom of speech. Certainly, there are exceptions, right? Threats, incitement, but I think people should be able to speak the way they want to speak. But I do think if we want to have actual change, especially in a state like New Jersey, we do need to tone down the rhetoric a little bit. We do need to start to speak to more of the masses, the parents. We are a huge voter base. We are a huge group, and that's right, left, middle. We love our kids. We all love our kids. And I think just, it doesn't matter who you are. If I sat down with you and any person, I don't care who you vote for. If I say, do you think your 7-year-old should be reading and learning about polysexuality? I think any normal level-headed person's going to say no. Yes, there's going to be people on the far left who say yes, and some of those people showed up at the board meeting on Tuesday who said, if I don't want my kids learning about polysexuality, I shouldn't be in public school. I shouldn't send my kids to public school. But I do think that we need to come together, and we need to really address what the issues are and call out the gaslighting, call out what I consider moral blackmail. Yeah. We need to have what I say is like in our pocket defenses. When they say your words are violence, we need to be able to call that out and say, stop politicizing actual violence. Like when they said that I was going to call it a school shooting, my response was, how egregious is it that you are politicizing actual violence and survivors and people who've been victims to school shooting? Like, it's disgusting. Like, we need to call it out. We have to say this is wrong. You shouldn't be saying somebody's
dragging that together. Any mean. I mean, if nobody made a credible threat, it's not like you made a Facebook post saying, hey, you know what? I don't agree with this, and everyone should take up arms and do something about it. Like, by no means did you mean that. You never said anything like that. And I think even Tucker said something about that, how like you didn't say you were going to nuke the place.
No.
So like trying to consider you some kind of right-wing activist terrorist, mom, and like it's ludicrous to even come up with that idea to try to pin you on. And it's like, I'm looking at you in your house, you got a Christmas tree. I'm thinking about like you probably got the kids bouncing around usually, and
I told their basketball, I was like, they can't be here because they'll try to jump in. But no, like that's the crazy thing is online, that's what they're trying to put. That side's trying to portray me as some, like right-wing extremist. And I'm literally just a mom. I think it scares them because I am a mom with a lot of education and a mom who knows this area. I'm not a dumb person. So I think that scares them because I'm not someone who's going to just hide and go away. I'm going to use the legal system. I'm going to use my voice. And I think I can with your help and others, bring people together so that we can truly make change and show them that we are the majority and we will be heard.
And we're being like you said, we're being silenced, like you were saying before.
Yeah, and we're being silenced with this moral blackmail. Like, I get it. I don't know. My husband is a business owner. So I have to say there is concerns how it's going to impact his business when I speak out. But, he always says, then we don't want them to come use our business. But I think it is hard. A lot of people I know, I have an inbox filled with thousands of messages nationwide, people supporting me. But a lot of people are just scared to speak publicly. We need to create a climate that we protect each other. So if someone's coming after you or me or something, that we all chime in and say, no, this is wrong. And we push back. So that's what I hope to do, is to help to lift other voices, other parents' voices, and protect them if the mob comes after them like they did for me.
Absolutely. That's what this room is. That's what this channel is. We're building our little army. And these people here, I call them my Jersey freedom fighters, right? And we have a little club and everything. But this right here, these people are from all over the country, all over the world. I mean, I get Argentina and Canada, and I mean, you name it. They're from all these other countries, and they see what we're going through in this one. And they're like, man, I would rather go through it over there than what they're going through, or vice versa. And they're like, man, it sucks over there. Come over here. And like, we should all be on the same game plan, everybody. Like, we're all humans, you know, we should all be treated with respect and love. And no one's better than anybody else. And like, there shouldn't be this hierarchy above us that we have to bow down to in order to get along in civilization. And they shouldn't be able to get us to fight each other, and we're letting them, you know. And but these people here that have been with me, they're like my soldiers, man. I could say, hey, I need pineapples, and then all of a sudden pineapples will all be in the chat, you know. Like, it's just fun. Or we'll find someone that's like really bashing the freedom movement, and we'll all go to that channel, and we'll just destroy the channel and make them go offline and stop talking about it. Like,
well, then I have a few people I'd like to list you. There's a few parents. There's a woman, her name's Anna Faye, and she lives in Chesterfield, the town next to mine. For a year now, every day, I'm not even lying, she'll create like a new Twitter account or a Facebook group, literally just to bash me and just spread horrible lies. I look forward to a defamation case against her, which is what I plan on pursuing. But yeah, what you just said is like, we need to shut these down. We need, when we have accounts like that, we need to just flood the accounts, because that's what they do. I'll be honest. She'll start pages, or she'll make a post, and I think she must have a text message group with like 50 people, because they'll all just chime in. And then my group will be like, well, I don't know. I don't, like, maybe she's going to call my job. And I'm like, you know, so like,
I mean, that's the risk we take, you know, when we go against the grain, and we're that little abrasive rub on their back door, and, you know, they don't like to deal with us. So we get under their skin and they try to come back at us. But we're so well dedicated to these trolls and getting rid of them, because it'll take one or two to misinform the whole chat about something, and they'll spread a lie about you. And then all of a sudden everyone's asking questions. Oh, well, Angelina said this. It's like, no, she said this. Go back in the thing. People would rather read it real quick and then go, instead of going back and looking at the facts. So I always tell people, hey, listen, if you don't believe me, go and look all of this up. It's public knowledge. This has been out for a while. She was just on Fox News the other day. But, you know, it's crazy that we have to even consider talking about this anymore. It used to be common knowledge, like, you know, we had a First Amendment right. Now we have to call the police department and remind police chiefs about how that can be exercised and what different ways. And he can't interpret it a different way and call it something else, because it is our First Amendment and it was written. And we have to abide by it, no matter how much it sucks sometimes that we don't want to hear something that someone has to say. We have to defend their right to say it, you know. But the people that are going after us, we've created this little community, this freedom community, and we're super strong. And every day we get stronger, and we get more people, and more people are waking up and joining in. And by networking, and, you know, maybe not only can I get people to come down, I would personally like to come down and maybe film this, and film the one-sidedness that I've seen a lot at these board meetings, where they can say whatever they want and swear and blah, 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 because it's against you. But if you go up to say, you get 3 minutes, they shut you down. They don't want, and half of it's you trying to argue about getting time. You know, it's like they know what they're doing. And I've been watching for a while, and I think it's wrong, and it shouldn't be one-sided. Everyone should have a voice, you know, and especially you have knowledge on the topic. You have experience as a board member, as an educator, and now with this legal background, you're like a woman on fire. So like, I'm dying. That's my goal. Yeah, I'm waiting. She's got this sword on her back, you know, she's going into battle. So I can't wait to see you. Maybe, you know, we'll go and try to film this for you, and then we can bring everyone in here along for the ride as well, you know?
Yeah, and the last board meeting was filmed. I actually had someone come with a camera. to record the whole thing for litigation purposes. But yeah, any support, and I'm here for you guys as well. Yeah, my background, I'm done law school. I have one more semester to go, and then I take the bar in the summer. And I plan to use my legal degree to protect our constitutional rights and our ability to speak, and the freedoms that have been given to us by our founding fathers that are being taken away every single day. And a lot of it is taken away from the government, but also from our own public. I call it like self-suppression, the heckler's veto, where everyone around us screams so much. So we go quiet, and we can't allow that group of people to take away our rights, the government or the public. We need to be able to speak, because I let them speak. I think everyone has the right to speak, even if I don't want to hear it. So I just want to have my rights respected as well. So that's my hope.
I'm glad you got to get more of the story out to us as well. Like, it got pretty deep, you know. I didn't realize that it started off that way. You know, Fox, they kind of jumped right into, you know, the main little spot right there. But the pretext to it and what happens afterwards are always super important. And now, I mean, have you had any adverse side effects from this interview? Has it left any kind of stain on you to where it's affecting you at all right now? Or
so, not the interview, actually. It was funny if Tucker ever watches this, but my family was worried about me going on Tucker because his rhetoric can be, you know, a little much. And I said, no, I really like Tucker. I think I can keep the interview pretty calm, because what I didn't want is to go on there and have the whole military slandered or put down, because like I said on Tucker, I'm a daughter of a veteran. I love our military. I love our police. I do. I mean, my family backs the blue. I have a huge American flag with the blue line hanging in my garage. So, you know, that was my concern with the interview. I haven't gotten that pushback yet. I tried to make it really explicit that I respect our military and our police force. So I hope your viewers know that, and that's something that I continue. Yeah, these are just bad faith actors, right? Not every police officer does this, or every military group does. But I do think overall the interview has been a net positive for me, because it's given me a national network of people from across the country, religious leaders, people like you who believe in freedoms have reached out to me to offer support and prayers. And that is so wonderful, because locally, that is where most of the hate is coming from. I mean, I've had people sit outside my house taking pictures. I've gotten threats to my phone. My kids have been called race. My kids are 6 and 7. I had people message me, say your kids are white supremacists. So most of the hate I'm getting is actually locally, and most of the love I'm getting is on the national and state level. So I haven't had any negatives yet. I don't know how my employment will go, depending on how this continues moving forward in the legal field, but that's fine, because I really want to focus on constitutional rights anyway. So,
well, I plan on pushing the limit when it comes to my constitutional rights. So I'm eventually going to need an attorney. So we might have to have a better relationship here, because eventually, like, you know, I've done audits, you know, where they ask for ID, and I comply because of threat of arrest and all that crap. And it's like, you know, I don't like that game. I like trying to do the right thing. And if I'm confronted with a situation, I have to handle it a certain way now, because I'm the kind of guy, I had a questionable past. I was a bad guy back in the day. I had to have a kid and kind of grow up and learn, you know, to, you know, be responsible and take things on as an adult. So I've had to go through this transformation. And, you know, my channel is really about, you don't have to be that jerk that you used to be. You can change. You can make positive things happen. I can go from the guy that used to get arrested and had a drinking problem to the guy that's standing on a stage trying to rally the troops. You know, like, you don't have to be in the background. You don't have to be depressed. I mean, I love my chat. You can come in my chat and talk and get your day out and just vent. And people will be like, I have the same kind of day. And all of a sudden there's 2 of you going nuts. I love it. But we have to be here for each other. That's the bottom line, you know. And I think what you're doing is amazing, because like you said, your story isn't this diehard patriot on a Harley with a flag, you know, ripping through the traffic, screaming freedom. You're just a mom at home trying to raise her kids with the same values you were brought up with, and try to make a respectable adult out of them. And you don't want to force adulthood on a child. You know, you don't want to put those decisions, like you were saying, to try to figure out what sexuality they are. Like, why should they have to worry about that? They're still playing with Barbie dolls and you know, G.I. Joes maybe, or the tablet, who knows? But the version of G.I. Joe on a tablet.
I mean, we're pretty at like my house, just for the technology. We're like, we try to avoid that, especially because that's what people told me. Your kids are going to see it online anyway. I'm like, well, they don't really go online. So yeah, my kids play, they play with toys. That's, my kids are 6 and 7. Well, actually my daughter just turned 8, so I have to update my story. She's had a birthday, but yeah, they're like little kids and they play with dolls. I mean, they were today pretending that a balloon was like a wild animal. I don't know. You know, they're just being kids. You know, that's what they do.
Their imagination, and you're allowing their imagination to grow, because you're not putting this virtual world where what they want to see is there. You're making them see it here, and you're developing their character and you know, their social skills and things like that by physically playing and by touching something and making it something different, and then explaining to mommy that, you know, what they're talking about. It's all part of the social construct that's being eliminated with this digital world, you know. And my kid's a victim of it. Like, I mean, because of the whole split with me and his mother, she had to work a lot. I was working all the time, and his grandmother was taking care of him a lot, and she was disabled, and her easiest way to do it was, here, go in there and just, you know, try to calm down, because my kid's got ADHD, so it's all over the place.
But, and I'm not knocking technology. Listen, believe me, we all give our kids a phone and tablet. Life is hard.
Yeah, he's a victim of it. Like, I didn't want it. I was like, can we do something besides, you know, video games? But it spawned into this thing now where he wants to do game developing and coding and really work with computers. So he's taking classes and things like that. And he's 13, and, you know, he's got to start thinking about his future. And that's pretty much, I mean, digital world is where it's going, you know. And at first I was trying to raise him like a 1980s kid, and I'm like, hey, you better, you know, get outside and play, or else I'm gonna, you know, give you one of these. And then I'm like, man, this ain't 1980, this ain't the 90s, this ain't 2000, this is, you know, 2022, where these kids were literally locked in the house for a year or two, and that's what they knew, you know. And there's no way around it. You couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't have the kids play with each other, because it was like the new age cooties, you know, like, oh, you know, you can't go over there. They might, you know, I heard Johnny was like, he had sniffles, and that's, he sneezed. I saw his mother sneeze at ShopRite. She didn't, you know, take off her 4 masks. But it's like, it's a new age thing, and it's unfortunate that they got to grow up like that, you know. And but he fell victim to it, and it's hard now to keep his concentration on other things, you know. He's on honor roll, thank God, but still, like, it's hard to get him away from that once he starts rolling with it. So most of my activities with dad are outside, you know, camping, hiking, and anything besides being able to charge your phone. Anywhere we can go where there's no plugs, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, you know, I understand what you're saying too. Like, it's some people, that's what they got, and, you know, and that's what they're doing.
I don't want anyone to think I'm like mom of the year. I'm not. Like, my kids certainly use technology. I do think we try to avoid it just because I know what's online, right? I know what they can access, and that does scare me. I want to keep their innocence as long as possible. Your son's 13. That's a totally different situation. But I don't need my, you know, I'm trying to avoid my, you know, now my 6 and 8-year-old being exposed to things that like TikTok, things that are beyond what I want them to see right now. But I know I can't do that forever. I'm doing it as long as I can to try to build a foundation so that they're able to, when they see the things that they're inevitably going to see, they'll be okay. That's my goal. But the school, going back to the topic of the night, is they're taking that away from me. They are taking my ability to parent my children the way I want to away from me. My daughter now is exposed to words like polysexual, and there's nothing I can do to take that away.
You can't erase that from her head. I know.
No, and she wants to look it up. And now I'm like scared anytime she does go on an iPad, because if she looks it up, I looked it up and I could see what it gets you to. And it's just really unfortunate. The public school is supposed to be a safe space, and it's not anymore. And oddly enough, at the board meeting I was talking about, people said that I made the school not safe by speaking, again, with the whole school shooter thing. But really, they are making the school unsafe, because now they're exposing my kids to content way beyond their maturity, and that's not safe. It's not safe to expose my kids to content like that. It's wrong. And every parent in this state or across the country, you need to be in your buildings. Okay. You need to be in those buildings, and you need to be looking on the walls. You just need to. You need to be requesting the curriculum. If you live in New Jersey, you can request a copy of the curriculum and you can read it word by word. You can request lesson plans. Parents need to be requesting lesson plans. It's sad because I was a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was a special ed teacher, then gen ed teacher. I was in education for 10 years. I mean, I never would have thought we would be at a point where people needed to see teachers' lessons plans. That to me is insane, because none of this stuff was ever in my classroom, but now we do. Parents need to pay attention. You need to be in your schools requesting lessons, requesting curriculum. You need to be at board meetings asking questions, and hold these administrators accountable, because they will do whatever all you need is a few woke activists in the building, and it's done.
Yeah. And it's like an infestation too, like the ideals that are coming out. It's none of them really make sense. And it's like they're being taught, the kids are being taught some of this nonsense instead of like real things like economics and like, what our Constitution really means and how to use your rights. They're not being taught these basic things that, really come into play when you get older. They'll teach you math and calculus and stuff like that, but teach somebody how to balance a checkbook, or build an account, or interest, or how loans will kill you eventually over time. Like teach them the facts so they have smarter decision making skills and better worldly skills, instead of focusing on like these little subtopics that really are supposed to be an afterthought when you go to college and things like that. Like when you're finding yourself, instead of when you're so young and you're still trying to develop your mind and figure out what's real and what's not. Santa Claus is real still, like you're telling a kid that believes in Santa Claus that it's okay to have multiple partners. It's like, whoa.
Or like it's okay to have sex with a transgender person, but they don't know what a transgender, like it is just so insane to me that this is even a conversation. That's, I think, what's so mind-boggling, is that this shouldn't even be controversial. Like everyone should have been like, oh my God, polysexual on the wall? No, that's wrong. Like there should have been a public uproar in this town. There should have been pitchforks going to the school, but instead there was a small minority of people who just called me a bigot, and everyone was just like, it should just be wrong across the board. This is wrong. And just a point for you and your viewers to be aware, if you look at statistics, I'm sure everyone's seen our scores. They're abysmal from COVID. But even before that, kids entering college are so behind in fundamentals like reading and math and writing that they usually have to get remediation. So it's not like we're pushing kids into college or into real world and they're exceptional, right? Yeah. They're all doing well, that we have all this extra free time to talk about ideology. We don't. We have kids who are significantly, behind in core areas in what they'll need for job performance or college. I don't understand how we even have time for this. Did you hear about the story? I would be remiss not to mention. Did you hear about the drag show in 100 and Central? It's like Flemington.
We're over in Jersey?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh, you should do a story on that, because they had a drag show at in Flemington, it's like 100 and Central, and during the day, a drag show, like things that you would like. This is in San Francisco. It's close.
Yeah.
So when I heard about this, I actually know people who are in the district who are part of the school. I'm in a chat with people, and I was like, oh my God, there's going to be public outwar. Like, people are going to lose their mind. Like, it's going to be insane. No.
Nothing.
People have been showing up to board meetings there saying how wonderful this drag performance is and how it needs to be there. And anyone else that speaks against it, they're being called same thing like me, terrorist. And yeah, it's insane. So
I'll show up with my terrorist friends then.
Yeah. So it's just really wild. We live in a world where people think my 7-year-old, 6-year-old need to know about polysexuality. And we also think that drag shows belong in public schools in New Jersey.
No.
I mean,
No.
it's,
they're being confused on,
yeah,
like, they see, you know, they're characters like Disney. Okay. You go to Disneyland, you see Mickey Mouse running around. These kids don't see these people as trans or whatever. They see him as a character, a fun, happy character, and they want to be a fun, happy character. They're not really deciding what sexuality they want to be at that age, you know? They're kind of being programmed, you know, during these story time shows, like, accept this character in your world, you know?
I mean, just think about this though. Like, you're a dad. 5 years ago, let's even go, because your son's like 13. Let's just even say like 8 years ago. Imagine if you walked into your son's elementary school 8 years ago in a tight spandex dress, and you were like, I'm here to read my son's class a story.
Yeah,
like, you would be arrested on site.
Yeah.
Like, you would be arrested on site. And I would be like, yes, arrest this guy. He is not going in there. And now it's like celebrated. Now it's like acceptance. And again, like, why does my child need to accept an adult dressed as a woman? Because that you shouldn't need affirmation from my children, because we're not doing this for the kids. We're doing this for the people who are dressed up like this, who want to parade around small children. Let's be honest. Like, it's wrong. And in any other context, just years ago, someone would be arrested on site.
Absolutely. I mean, well, you know, society has made it acceptable to be different. Society has made mental illness acceptable, because there's a lot of people running around that have mental illnesses, and they're, you know, the rest of society is being told you have to accept them for who they want to be. So you can identify as a lamppost and tell everybody you're a lamppost. I need to plug into some electric. Everyone's got to live in your world with you. And it's like, I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in my world where, you know, things operate like normal, and we don't have to adjust ourselves to make everybody else comfortable.
Yeah, you could accept, like, if my kids saw, I'm going to use your example, someone who thought they were a lamppost, I would say, you know, this person is different, and they should be respected. Please don't make fun of them. Don't, you know, that's what I would teach my kids. Like, okay, this is someone who's clearly different. They deserve respect, and you're not going to bully them or be mean to them. But I'm certainly not going to say, okay, I want you to know he is a lamppost, and I need you to identify him as a lamppost. Like, I wouldn't teach my kids that. I would just say that's how this person feels, and you come. This is my thing. Come at everybody with love. Just come at everybody with love. Come at everybody with respect. I don't think anyone should be bullied or harassed ever, ever. Even if you, but I also don't think that I need to accept if you think you're a lamppost. And there are probably people who are going to dislike these comments, thinking that we're trivializing people who are who identify as transgender. But like, I don't know. We're not that far from people identifying as lampposts, to be honest. I mean, every day there's something brand new. The board I sat on, I have pictures of kids showing up to school in full cat costumes. For real. Now, this is real. Like, I have pictures. This is real.
The furry thing used to be a thing. You know, I heard about the furry thing back in the day, but that's like stuff you did in the bedroom. You didn't bring that in the public, you know. They had like whatever, Furry Con or whatever, and they all get together and meet each other. That's cool. They got their own little club. You, man, have fun. Dress up like whatever you want. All right? Dress up like a car. I don't care. But like, don't bring that to me or in front of my kid and then force us to make it normal. And but just to even force that conversation on a parent to have with their kid to explain to them that, yeah, honey, well, he's a lamppost. I know he looks like a person and he acts like a person. He walks like a person, talks like a person, but he's a lamppost. And that's, like you said, I'm not going to force my kid to call him a lamppost.
No,
But like you said, don't make fun of him. It's just, I explain to them that, hey, he has a different way of thinking than us.
That's it. And that should be the conversation about sexuality too. Like, people, that's all you need to say is like, people should be respected and loved no matter who they are, what they look like. I mean, you may see different families. Like my kids, we know couples, same-sex couples. My kids don't care. They literally don't care because they're kids and they're just like, whatever. Like I teach my kids to love and respect all people. So there's never a need to have I don't sit down with my young kids and say, okay, see these two women, they don't have the same kind of sex mommy and daddy. Like, I don't need to do that. Yeah. No, like they just know, okay, like these two people love each other. And my kids think that's normal. Like they're like, whatever, like they don't care. And that's the whole thing is like, I don't know why we're teaching concepts and going into details about, 30 genders and I don't know, 25 sexual things you can do.
Even racism's taught like that. Like kids don't know that there's racism. They're taught that. They're taught that there is a difference. But if we don't keep teaching that there's a difference, they won't see each other as different. You know what I'm saying? Or like you can see in society, there's people that are different. You can tell. You go to a playground, for instance, and like in a multi-diverse area, like the one I live in. I'm over here in like by West Patterson. So up here, there's a lot of different diversity, and I've been bringing my kid to the park for years around here in Wallington and all these different areas. And I've never really had to explain to him different races. He grew up playing with different kids from different parts of the world, and they were just other kids to him. Like his best friend now is black. And like, he's not a black kid to my son. He's just another kid. Correct. Because we didn't teach the difference. I grew up with black friends and Hispanic friends and Indian friends and everybody. And you're supposed to teach acceptance and love instead of teaching a difference between everybody. You're supposed to teach the things that we all have in common. If you're harping on the differences, of course that's going to land in the kid, and he's going to realize that. And oh well, yeah, you've got different colors again, but who cares? And then like another comment, well, they are known for doing this. It's like whoa. It's like, did he do that? Like it's usually taught that race card, and for me, it wasn't. I grew up around everyone. So for me, it was everyone's the same. I don't, I'm accepted in areas where usually a lot of people aren't accepted. It's because I learned respect. You know what I'm saying? And you can go anywhere in the world. If you have respect, you'll get respect back, but it's all how you're handling yourself.
You'll be called. I'll just tell you, when I was a board member up until recently, last year, I spoke out against what was happening in our schools with critical race theory. And it's funny because people kept saying, oh, that's not taught in our schools. And I, as a law student who takes critical race theory, I said, no, it's not being taught. No, they're not taking a course I would take in law school, but it's infused within our curriculum, the underlying ideology of it. So I spoke out about some of the things that were happening in the school. They were having kids read articles like the white knapsack, like you carry around your white privilege. They had, and your viewers may not believe this, but they had an award, and I have the receipts to prove this. They had an award where the students had to vote for their teacher who acknowledged their privilege the most. I know. So yeah. Like I called it the white privilege award, and they said, well, it's not just white privilege. I said, well, when you're asking kids to vote for which teacher acknowledges their privilege the most, like, I mean, that's what you mean. And so I spoke out against it and how ridiculous all of this is and how divisive it is and creating a divide within our district. And then people proceeded to say that I needed to acknowledge my white fragility and just, slam me, not even knowing, similar to you. I grew up in Trenton, and my dad was in jail when I was a teenager. So I was homeless as a teenager. So I come from zero privilege. Now I'm privileged because of hard work and what I've done with my life. But
But it's
But
not
like,
because you're white. It's
not because
because
I'm
you
white.
voice
Yeah,
your
I mean,
opinion.
and they'll say like I had opportunities because I'm white, and I don't know. I don't think so. I think, you know, I had opportunities because I decided to make something of my life, and I put in the effort, and I studied, and I worked 2 jobs, and um, you know, but you know, I'm sure there are societal impacts from
Yeah,
racism, and what we did in our country is egregious. But I think that this whole idea that if you're white, you have some sort of inherent privilege, and then teaching that to young kids, that's where what I called out. Like, if you want to
yeah,
have a conversation with older students in college about systemic issues in our country and racism,
mhm,
that's fine, because you can process it and you can debrief and kind of look into it. But when you're
yeah,
telling like a 13-year-old, like someone your son, like he's
yeah.
inherently privileged because he's white, that's wrong.
He's
So
gonna come home and
yeah,
be like, "What did I do to get this privilege? Like, where do
yeah,
I, how do I give it back? You know, like, I don't
yeah.
want
I
that privilege."
I spoke, and I actually said that at the board meeting. And I got, I mean, again, it's the mob of the same people who came after me then. Now, I said, if you would have told 16-year-old me, who had my dad in jail, and I was living on a friend's couch, if I was in school and they asked me to write about my white privilege, I said, I don't think I'd be sitting here today. Like,
Yeah,
I don't, you know, I would have been like, forget this place.
yeah.
School was my only out from the life I had. So for me, like, when the school system's saying this to kids, it's
Yeah,
wrong. So I know we're going off topic here, but yeah, our
yeah,
school system is in crisis right now, and our
yeah.
poor kids are living through this, and they need parents and individuals, adults with life experience, to speak out against it.
Yeah. And people that are actually there, parents that are actually there, involved, instead of coming home and doing that 3 hour, purge on Facebook, hit that meeting at the school board, come to meetings that Angela's at, stick up for her. Let's take our rallying and all our stuff that we've been doing, chat and people out here. Let's take all that and bring it somewhere and do something positive with it, like if we can be there to support someone like Angela in your own towns and your own communities. I know these people are from all over the country, all over the world. So we all need to get involved. Take this story and let it motivate you and bring you into that school board meeting or that town hall meeting and really voice your opinion. Because if we all stick together, they can't shut us all up. They can't silence us all. I might go down like Jerry Epstein, but someone step up and fill my shoes, like go for it. Like they can't do it to everybody before it starts to leave a pattern and they start going, well, all these freedom fighters are dying for no reason. Like I'll be the martyr. I'll go down. I'm telling you guys, go out and hit these meetings,
Yeah.
because it's important. It is. And you can't be afraid. You can't let them make you afraid anymore, because
Yeah,
that's the
but
biggest problem.
you have to be more prepared than them. I have to say that. Like, they do feed into this tactic of us being, you know, rogue Trumpers, uneducated.
Yeah,
And like, that's wrong. And you don't need to have an education background to just respectfully speak your opinions and share your opinion. So we need to change our rhetoric, and we need to organize, and we need to show them that we love America, we love our children, and we are not going anywhere. And you need to show up. We need to show up, because that's what they do. I'm used to being alone or having
yeah,
like three people with me going against a group of 100. And I'll keep doing that, but it's much easier if we're there and I have a group of people supporting me, or all of us in your own towns, to come
yeah.
together to make changes.
I can straight up. I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna try it because I've been involved with a lot of different groups, and a lot of people have been telling me you need to organize, you need to help out with this. And I don't like being the guy that organizes, because we all know what happens to those people. They end up locked up or charges or something because they're running the show, and some rogue guy, who joins does something stupid and everybody gets in trouble. I'm gonna try to dedicate myself to the next school board meeting that you go to and you're going to be speaking at, or whatever you're involved with. Instead of 3 people, I want to rally everybody together. So you let me know where to be and what time, and I will throw straight up, I'll be advertising the hell out of it. I'll stand outside and hold a sign, but I'll make sure that we get more people to where we're going to go. I know I have people that'll come and support me. So I'm going to rally everybody. So if you guys want, stay tuned for the information. I'm going to drop that. We'll make a rally the same day as that, right in the same lot. Everybody can come. So we'll match their 100 people with another 100 or two, so that way they know that you have just as much support behind you that they think they have, and then we keep doing it because we don't have to pay for our support. They got to pay for it. That some of these people are being paid to go over there and get involved and do this, because if the military's involved and they're watching, they can afford these big agencies. They can afford to just drop a couple bucks in someone's pocket and go over there and read off some script, and it sets the stage.
And we also, I don't know, no matter where you are in the country, but especially in New Jersey, you need to hold your board members accountable. So there's a board member on my board she was one of the people, her name's Casey Noble. And she said, Angela, your kids just have to be exposed to this. Like when she's up for reelection, which I believe is next year, 100%, I will be actively using the political process that people are aware of what her position is. That's what we need to be doing, because that's what they do. Except I won't lie. They will lie about us. I won't. I will just show the receipts and the text messages and say, this is your board member. This is what she wants. Is this what you want? So we really need to use the political process in our favor, not lying, not slandering, just using it the way it was supposed to be used to spread information and gain awareness. That's what we really need to do. If we're going to take back these schools, which honestly makes an impact across every area of governance, we really need to use our political process, our voice as parents, but also take back the school boards from people who want to actively harm our children. They should not be in positions of power. And I know there's probably people listening, well, you resigned from the school board. I resigned from the school board because I am much better as someone on the outside organizing and using my voice and helping people get into that position. Once you're in a board seat, you really are limited in what you can do politically. Now I'm not a board member. I can run campaigns. I can form a super PAC. You know what I mean? There's so much more I can do. So I will help anyone who's listening right now to help take back your local school boards. This is my area of expertise. I'm willing to help fundraise for you and help with campaigning, because these are our schools.
Awesome. And upon speaking with my son's superintendent at their school, I spoke with him and I'm like, what can we do as parents and as the public to really get back to where we need to be? And he said, we need to advocate for local control, like local control of our school board, instead of the state being in charge of making a lot of decisions. And, he explained it's also difficult because of the funding. So when they don't get the state funding and they don't support what the state's decisions are and they don't take their advice, they basically lose out on funding. And that's not supposed to be the way it is, because the schools should be taken care of first. Our kids' futures should be top priority, not building another, 30 acres of whatever over here. It should be going into the school system. And if the state is picking up the tab and we're relying on the state, we're giving them too much power to move in and start making decisions on our behalf as the parents. So he said, basically, if we can lobby for local control of our school systems, we can start making changes from there. Because right now we can't change policies and mandates and things like that because the school's too deep into it.
I'm going to push back on that superintendent a little bit. I don't know if your relationship with this person, but I will tell you, superintendents love, just because this is my area, they love to pass the buck and blame it on the state. Certainly the state actors, our state school board, other areas have passed egregious laws that are harming children, and the mandates, yes. But school boards have so much control, more than I think they're willing to actually take accountability for. For instance, with the health curriculum, everyone's saying, oh, it's the state standards. There's nothing we can do about it. No, there's a lot. Because, for instance, in second grade, it says you have to talk about genitals. Crazy. But if that's the lesson, that doesn't mean the state's not mandating 45 minutes talking about genitals. Your lesson could essentially be, and I keep giving this as an example, your lesson could be talking about body parts, head, arm, and literally you could mention the genitals for
real quick
30 seconds. Boom, we hit the standard, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so much. Now I would still opt my kid out of that lesson, but what I'm saying is there's a lot more control than that we have that's not being utilized.
Okay.
But even with, for instance, the COVID guidelines, if you lived in New Jersey, the state health department put out guidelines. They were not mandated. They were not executive orders like the masks. My district, I made a lot of enemies, but we were one of the first in the state to get rid of all of the recommendations. We had no close contact quarantine, none of that, because I fought it. I used the law. I said, this is not mandated by law. This is a recommendation. But so many school board members, including people on my board, were just like, well, it's, we don't want to ruffle feathers. No. So I don't mean to like shut down your superintendent.
That's good.
But there is so much more if you have good board members, and that's going to take board members who need support from people who know what they're doing, right? So I'm willing to be help to anybody. There's so much power in the school board that's not being utilized, where we can take the standards that are given to us that are law and minimize their impact, minimize what's happening, and really know the difference between a recommendation and what's mandated. But most people don't. That's why superintendents will say, oh, we have to do it. And I'm always like, no, you don't. So
I've been fighting that for years now with these mandates and things. I'm like, it's not a law. It's not, and then I get hit with, oh, you're in a personal business and you got to go or whatever. They always
the mask mandate was a law.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people on the right who are saying it's an executive order. It's not the law. The way the New Jersey Constitution is written, it gives Governor Murphy or any governor the power. And so an executive order has the force and effect of law. But aside from that, the other guidelines, the things like the quarantining and all the other great, they were all recommendations. And there was nothing.
There were some crazy ones. My son was sent home from school because he possibly had contact with another individual who may have had contact with another individual who had COVID. And I'm like, we're really going that far down the chain? Like, can't we just see if it happens?
And your district did that and they didn't need to. That's what's crazy about it. I bet your superintendent said, oh, well, the health department, it was a recommendation. So that's why on my board, I was pivotal and kind of really honing in on this is a recommendation and we're harming kids. I took months of data collection. I got how many students we quarantined and how many actually ever tested positive, and it was less than 1%.
Yeah.
So we were quarantining hundreds of kids.
Yeah, and it wasn't even 1%. And I used that in one of my speeches at this rally. I'm like, we're locking down the state, and not even less than 1% was really being affected by what was going on. And I'm like, this is insane that we're going out of our way for all this, but other stuff hit, and like bird flu and Ebola and all these things. We didn't lock down the country for that stuff, so what's the difference? And I think it all comes down, when it comes to all that stuff, I think it all comes down to some money, and
but parents need to fight back. We are going back to like your superintendent saying, well, we need to get more local control.
Yep.
We have local control. Board members are not utilizing their local abilities because number one, either they don't understand it. They don't know what their power is because their superintendent often will. Board members sometimes sit and the superintendent tells them what to do instead of it being reversible. Like, we are the board. We take your recommendations, but we know our role. So there's so much that boards are not utilizing. And that's what I'm seeing across the state. And I think it's why our schools are the way they are, because I live in North Hanover. We are a red town.
Yeah.
Okay. We are military. We are firefighter. We are police. We are a red town. And this stuff's happening in my town. It's because our board, there are members of our board who do not utilize their ability as board members. We have a woke board member, Casey, who is harming the district, and we need to take back local control. We need to vote in better people, and we need to call out those who are not doing their job respectfully, respectfully, and hold them accountable for what they're doing to our children. So we no more of this, like, oh, there's nothing we could do. We got to wait till Governor Murphy's out or till the laws are changed. Like, there's a lot of things that we can do now with really, really good board members who are supported by people who know the law or who know the processes. I mean, I really think in the next year or two, we can make significant change, even with Governor Murphy sitting in the governor's office.
I know. And it's like, I hate thinking of that, but it's something that we have to deal with. We can't always get, what we want in the position, but we can work around it, like you're saying, and get more involved and try to hire the right people to be in the seat. So even if Murphy's there, he doesn't have power over us where we are, like we can make our own decisions still and have him try to sit up there and, bark the orders. So,
I mean, the board votes for curriculum. So if the law, the new inclusion law says that you need to include gender identity and sexual orientation in lessons, it's a one-liner law. That's so broad. It doesn't tell us exactly how we have to teach that or how it needs to be included. So the school board has so much control in how that's implemented, so these extreme things happening in the schools, understand the buck stops with that school board and that superintendent, because they chose to take that law to the next level. They chose to put things in the school that are not age appropriate. So we need to really push back on our locally elected officials. That's where we can make the most change today.
Yeah. And if you can't make it to the meetings, a lot of the towns post this stuff online. You can read the minutes from the secretary. You can actually go through, see what, some of them.
I know when I was on the board, my BA intentionally would leave out certain things because he didn't like me. So just know that the minutes aren't always helpful. But and I understand, like, not everyone's going to be able to go to a board meeting. If you're like me and your kids are in sports, it's hard to go to board meetings, but you can still request lessons and curriculum from the district. You can ask questions. You can ask to go into the building to look at things. These are our public schools.
Always ask questions. Don't just take someone's word for it. I keep telling everybody, get more involved, do your own research, because you can have someone at the door saying, hey, nothing's going on here, but you get past the door and you see a lot's going on. So try to open that door at least. Try to see what's going on. Try to get a good idea. Meet the teachers. Get a good feel for them. Look into the superintendent's past. See if he had involvement with other schools where it didn't work out. Things like that. You got to look and do the research, because people are getting too complacent. And we used to be able to drop our kids off and they were safe.
Yeah, read the lessons. Read the lessons too. I'll give you one more example, and then I could talk all night. Is the second in my district, they were talking about the health curriculum. Now, again, I was going to opt my kids out regardless, but I wanted to see the actual lessons. So the second graders were supposed to again learn about genitals, which is so ridiculous. But in the lesson, the teacher's lesson, they were supposed to read out loud. Mostly boys have penises. Mostly. Like, that's insane. So and mostly girls, I remember
mostly school taught, actual biology. I thought they mostly did that in school.
But like, if I didn't look at the lesson, if I didn't see that lesson, I would never have known. So ask questions, ask to see as much as you can and read it. And I know we're all busy, we work or we have family obligations, but we have to catch these things, because that's insane to tell a second grader that mostly boys have penises. I don't even understand that. Like, and in the first grade lesson, it was like asking the kids what gender they thought they were, and just to like talk about why they think that it may seem innocent, but I don't want you asking my 6-year-old what her gender is.
No,
she doesn't get to like that's not a choice for her right now. Okay. Like it's not a choice for her ever. She's born the way she's born, but giving them that kind of option is wrong. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't actually ask to see the lessons or go to the events that they're sharing this information. So it's sad. I think you said it. Like, we used to, I'm sure my parents just sent me to school and were like, you're good. It's just a full-time job.
By yourself, get there. Don't talk to strangers. Don't get in a van.
Yeah,
like
like
that
the
was
normal
so
the
good.
normal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad because my kids will not be in public school next year. But I want to help as many parents as they can across our state and country, because not everybody has the opportunity to put their kids in private school, nor should they have to. Like, nobody should have to. You're paying taxes. No one should have to send their kids to private school to get away from this. So we
Our school
really,
should be
yeah.
as safe and as comfortable as a private school. And we shouldn't have to, we shouldn't have to conform to what they want us to conform to. We are the people. We have the decision-making skills. They're kind of insulting us as parents, basically taking our decisions away, and they're implementing their own without our consent. We never said, hey, we're okay with this. We never voted on a curriculum. It wasn't presented in front of us and shown us beforehand. They kind of slip it in, and then they're like, hey, listen, we're going to have to deal with it. And by the way, 4 years ago, this, it's like,
and you have board members voting on curriculum, because you have to vote for curriculum yearly, who've never read the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
I was curriculum chair, so I read line by line, but you've elected people who are sitting in seats. Granted, they're unpaid in New Jersey.
Yeah.
We're volunteers, so it is a lot, but you voted these people in, and they're voting for things. Many of them haven't even read anything they're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's it's like they don't put the effort in that's needed. And we need people in place that are that dedicated, that really want to see our kids' future, thrive, instead of watching it burn right in front of you, and you're letting it as a board member or as a super or something like that. You're letting it. You're allowing this evil into our school. You're allowing these people to, mislead the kids and try to, sexualize these children at such a young age. And they really need to keep their hands off the kids. All right. They've been jerking around with us adults for a couple years now, but leave the kids alone. Let them develop as children. If they want to, like your daughter, she doesn't have to wake up and decide what kind of thing she wants to be. She could decide if she wants to wear a princess dress or a tutu today. She doesn't have, that's the decisions that a 7-year-old should be making, not, what do I want to be when I grow up? Do I want to have something there, or do I not? It's like,
do I want to have sex with transgender, like polysexual, like that? She doesn't need to be deciding or even thinking about those things. And she doesn't need a list of genders that she can choose from.
I know adults that are not comfortable talking about that. I know adults, like there's like straight Christian, women I know that refuse to say those words, let alone have their kids taught that, and I mean, it doesn't matter at this day and age what gender you are, what side of the political spectrum you fall on, or any of that. It's or religion. I've watched Muslims and Christians get together at school board meetings to fight things, and I'm like, wow, this is insane. When the whole community is coming together and saying, no, this is wrong, you have to start looking into it, and it's just the fact of getting these people out, because they see these things on YouTube and on the news, how a school board was shut down and people were arrested today because somebody didn't shut up after the 3 minutes. I'm the guy who's going to get dragged away.
No, you're not, because you're going to make real change. You got to stop at the 3 minutes.
I know. I let everybody else go. I just film it now, because I start talking and things get crazy quick. So I got to learn how to just chill out a little bit more. We're still learning. But I'm the loudest. It's hard,
though. It's hard. Yeah.
It is. I'm the loudest guy. I'm from Jersey, Jersey J. Everywhere I've gone with these rallies, I'm very well known. Everyone hears me way before they see me, But it's a Jersey thing, like we're loud. We're very boisterous people. We like to get our point across, and if we don't, we get a little bit louder. We start talking with our hands, and we look like we're nuts, but really it's just how we express ourselves. It looks very violent when we're having a conversation.
I'm a Jersey girl, Italian. I have to warn people all the time. I tell my own kids that I'm not yelling at them. I'm just talking. That's just like, I'm always like, I'm not yelling. I'm literally, this is my voice. But no, I get that. But we really need to make change, though.
We have to dial it down. Like you said before, we don't want to be like the other side. We don't want to just repeat ourselves and swear and call names. Really, if you got that 3 minutes, I've been telling everybody, if you only got 3 minutes, don't waste it, poking fun at the board or doing this. Use it to the best of your ability. If you're going to use that 3 minutes, don't get distracted by the idiot yelling at you, like stay on it and then record it and play it back on your Facebooks and on YouTubes and send it to your friends and use that to have everyone else have kind of a baseline on, what they're supposed to be doing. Because I see a lot of people go up there and they get distracted by, someone yelling behind them or whatever. And for some reason, they're allowed to do it when we're standing against it. But if you're all for it, you get arrested for yelling at the other person, or you have to ask to leave, or it's just so one-sided,
Oh yeah, I was cursed out at the last board meeting. Not for nothing, I ruffle people's feathers. A woman who just had gone up and said crazy things. I said, "Oh, that was beautiful, thank you," because I just don't care. And then she just was like, "Go F yourself," just screaming. And the police did nothing. Like they had so much police at our last board meeting again to give the facade that there was an issue, but there never was. They did nothing because it was me. Like I'm not deserving of respect. If I did that, I would have been probably taken out on handcuffs. So we do have to be better. We do have to be calmer. And it sucks that there is different standards, but if we're going to win, we just have to understand, like, this is how we make change for now. And then once we have power, then it's not like that. But we need to start somewhere. So my goal over winter break, because I don't have to go back to school until January for my last year or my last semester of law school, is I'd like to create like a website for parents that they can access talking points when they go to board meetings, pre-create it, not speeches, but things that they can say, because we're all busy. If you're a mom, like or dad, you don't have a time to like write something up. Right. So just to have some talking points for parents of different issues that are focused on New Jersey, but also like nationwide, that you could just print and take with you and then pick what you want to talk about and bring it out. But also I'd like to have information about how you can utilize the law, like Oprah requests in New Jersey, Open Public Record Act, how you can request emails of board members, you can create of superintendents, how you can start getting information by utilizing the laws we have in this state to start gaining more information. So that's my goal, is to have like a one-stop shop for parents, to give them the tools that maybe they're unaware of, and so we can really come together and make change. And hopefully I'd like to plan, like, I know you've done rallies. I've never done a rally, but I'd love to get parents together from across the state and even further to come together, to meet, to network, and to really just talk about the issues. And I'd like to speak to what we can do.
Absolutely. Angela, we're 100% on board with you and what you're doing. And once you send me some information, the next board meeting, or, a good time that we can do this, like, or when you feel like you're going to have the most opposition, I'll show up. I'll be more than happy to show up and speak, or even film, just to film the event, to be, on your side. So it's not so one-sided, people will see support. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I shut people up. They don't like to say anything bad to my friends when I'm in front of them. But they have all this keyboard warrior technique. They love this. It's like, it's their thing. But when they show up, like you said, you like to have them say it to you in the face. They don't say it. It's weird. It's like a lot of them just, they get quiet. They didn't expect you to actually, be as real as you're saying. And it shocks them, So I like shocking people and showing up. So I'd be more than happy to come down and bring some people with me. Maybe we can schedule that.
And if it can happen in my town, guys, like I said, North Hanover, look up our voting record. We had 900 votes, Republican, 400 Democrat. Like, we're red. North Hanover we are run by Republicans, weak Republicans, but we're run by Republicans. So if this stuff can happen in my town, this can happen anywhere.
Definitely happening around here. I can tell you that. The town I'm in, I'm like right next door to Patterson. And it's super blue down there, I mean, they enjoy their benefits that they get with what's going on right now. But when that all runs out, it's going to be chaos down here. So we're moving north.
North Jersey or north, like north?
Farther north. Yeah. We're not even, we're going so far. We're not even disclosing where we're going yet to all these people, because You know, like you have people like threatening you and things like that over your stance here. We've been going through that for, you know, a number of months now. Our addresses, and, you know, they threaten to do things to us, and emails, calls, but it's just part of the game. I mean, as long as you can stay mentally focused on your you know, your task, and you're trying to do everything you can to get your word out and your message out, I'm 100% behind you. I know a lot of the people in the chat, I've been watching the chat, they love you. Absolutely.
I just was trying to look. I know they said not to look, but I didn't even realize I could see. I was trying to see.
Oh, they love you. I mean, they got pineapples going up right now. It's the equivalent of like support for us.
Okay.
So that's that's a little joke that we have from another chat room. But yeah, I mean, you got a lot of support and love, especially here in Jersey. I got a lot of people that I know will be on board with this, and I haven't summoned them yet to come to a rally for me. But I would like to ask personally, if I put this information out, if you guys in Jersey or the surrounding area and Philly or whatever, if you guys can come out and meet up with me and Angela here at one of these school board meetings and show your support, we'd really appreciate it. If you're a good speaker and you got a positive message, maybe you can run it over with us quick or something, and you know, get up on stage and on the mic and really try to drive this point home, because it's not just me and Angela that feel this way. It's a lot of you at home, and a lot of people are scared to voice themselves, and that's what we try to do here. Is we try to motivate them to get up and come out of the house and say it. Say the words out loud. Make other people hear that you're discontent with the situation. You know, like, you don't have to be quiet no more. We shouldn't have to be the silenced majority. You know,
yeah,
like
that's what it is. We are being silenced, and we have to say no more, and we have to call out whatever all their tactics that they're using to silence us, and we have to be better than them.
Yeah. And we can't, and you know, it's going to take to fight this is it takes a little fire to fight fire. You know, having to go head to head with Antifa and all these other groups out there. It's very nerve-wracking when you're in that kind of mode with these rallies and these things. It gets tense. You know, the cops, I like to thank God that they're there sometimes, you know, because they are there to keep all the sides protected. As much as that the police force doesn't even like the other side, it's their job. They took an oath to protect the people. And, you know, as us going, hey, you got to do something about them. They threw a water bottle. Hey, listen, a water bottle getting thrown is the least of their problems. You know, they're worried about people hitting the ground, getting stomped on, you know. And
well, you won't see that at a board meeting. I will tell you that.
No. But this drag show in Flemington, I got to look into that, because I got some friends that love to go to those things.
Oh, they need all the support they can get there. I mean, I've been watching all the board meetings live about this, and overwhelmingly the meeting is filled with people who are in support of the drag show. And someone this week came up and said, you know, parents are trying to think that they own their children, and they don't.
Yeah. That's
like, I mean, the craziest things you'll hear. And there was another guy who came up who said people who are speaking against this are like the KKK. So we need to, when we see these things happening, we need to show up respectfully and call it out and support those who are actually trying to actively fight against this. Because I will tell you, I have felt alone for over a year, aside from a small group of people I have, but most of the support I get is an email and text message, because people are scared and they cheer me on, but I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. Like, I'm one person, and essentially my voice isn't going to mean anything at some point if I don't have people who are behind me saying, yeah, well, we agree with her, you know?
Well, you got incredible momentum. Just coming off Tucker Carlson, I mean, that video's already got a couple, you know, tens of thousands of views. It's probably got like 30,000 views by now or so. This video is sure to get a whole bunch of views. We had 100 people in here basically the whole time that been watching, and then they're telling everybody, and then they're telling everybody. It's an incredible story that you got. Just the fact that the military and police got involved with a Facebook post from a mom, like, that should concern everybody about the government overreach and the power that they actually have, you know, because if they can try to criminalize you for a Facebook post and make you some kind of terrorist, they could do it to anybody, you know.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
who's next? You know,
I mean, I'm like, I'm telling you, like squeaky clean. If you can do this to just like a mom in a red town, like it can happen to anybody, and it really shouldn't. And hopefully, I'll be back on the news, maybe Tucker again once we file a lawsuit. Like I said, I'm working with the Thomas More Society, so we are actively pursuing multiple avenues to hold individuals accountable, and we would like to utilize the military or the media to help us in this fight, because this is going to be fought in a courtroom, but it's also going to be fought in the public sphere, and public opinion needs to change. We need to say no more government interference, leave moms alone, stop calling them domestic terrorists. So hopefully we'll have some more media coverage too once, if we go to federal court.
Who the hell is this? I'm sorry. I think either I'm getting food or the cops are here. But I didn't call anybody, so I don't know what the heck's going on.
Well, the cops do get involved when moms speak, so I learned that. So
I'm good. We invite them. I mean, I'm looking for that civil rights lawsuit where they, violate my First Amendment. We don't threaten anybody on this show. We don't, cause any harm. We don't ask for anybody to like mass call a police station and tie up the lines or none of that. We just try to be as respectful as possible when we interact with the police department, and we don't ask for trouble. But if trouble comes to us, I'll be more than happy to stand up for my rights on behalf of all the other Americans who are scared to do it. Because we watch these videos sometimes online, and we never get to watch the end of them. You ever notice that? You see these guys auditing, and they're like, I'm not showing ID. I'm not doing this. And then it cuts off before they're locked up and put in the back of the cop car for it. So I just try to show the right way. You can stand your ground and be respectful. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to be absurd and scream obscenities. You can still stand your ground, know the law, know what you're getting into. Don't just start spitting stuff off you've heard on the internet. Do your research.
I'm not an attorney yet, but I would just say be quiet,
Be quiet. The best lawyers tell you this. It's just shut the hell up. Just stay quiet. Yes, sir. No,
There's
sir.
a time and a place to fight, and I mean,
street is not the place. Yeah.
So but I mean, I hope to show the world, our country, that I'm not backing down. That's why I immediately had like different law firms reaching out to me, and I said, I don't care the outcome. I will fight this, because no parent should be monitored or silenced by the military and the police for sharing a concern about the public school system respectfully, not in violation of any law or even a Facebook rule. I said it's wrong, and I think that this is a violation of my First Amendment rights, and it's retaliation for using my rights. So I look forward to pursuing this and using, media to keep people informed, so this doesn't happen to anyone else, and it shouldn't ever happen to anyone else.
Yeah. And just in case the mainstream media at some point decides to turn against you and spin the story, it exists here. So we still have it. We still have your full story here now, and I think we have abided by all the YouTube terminology, so we can continue to, have it up. But they love. Remember, I sent you that text with all those words. They love to use those words and try to say we misuse them to spread misinformation. So they love to try to do that for anything. So. I think this went extremely well.
Thank you.
We're supporting you no matter what. You're on the right path to what you're doing. Don't let the naysayers and the trolls get to you. You know what I'm saying? Because
they've been coming at me for a year now. It's fine.
Good. You're conditioned then. You're good. You're a tough girl. And you're from Jersey, so what are we worried about? But you've done great. This is an amazing time to be living through right now. It's people like you that are going to stand up as a mom for our kids' future. I mean, it's going to take everybody, not just, the soldiers and, the tough. It's everyone, the moms and the dads that are home, the people that, the grandmas, the grandpas, everybody that has a voice has to start using it. Because the more people that are yelling, the louder we are, and they can't shut us up at that point. They can't talk over us. And I'm looking forward to getting some more information, so that way we can meet up and go to these board meetings and try to make a difference.
I appreciate that.
Anytime. And you're always welcome on the show. Usually we have an open room where at the top of the chat, it'll be pinned so you can click it and jump in. And if you're ever watching, you have an opinion on something, you want to chime in, we would love having your opinion from a legal aspect, from a school board member aspect, and educator. You're very knowledgeable, and we wish you the best out here. And, you know, I'm looking forward to getting in contact with you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I'll share anything I have moving forward, board meetings, or if I make a website so we can all coalesce together. Yeah.
Awesome. You're welcome on the channel anytime, Angela. And, you know, for everybody in the chat, Angela Redding, she is going to be an amazing frontline soldier here in the freedom fight, and we have to stand behind her. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Angela.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Make sure just text me later or whatever. Reach
I
out.
will.
Let me know, you know, whenever anything pops up, we'll be there.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great night.
All right. You too.
All right.
Bye.
Here we go, guys. Angela Redding. What an amazing interview. I think what she had to say was absolutely wonderful. It's very important that we get that message out, guys, that, you know, what they're doing in these school systems behind our backs, it takes people physically going there and seeing the stuff for it to make a difference. And you have to get involved. We need to get involved and stop blaming everybody else for what's going on. We have to get involved so that way we have no one to blame but ourselves. It's because we're sitting home and we're not going to these board meetings, or we're not getting involved with the kids' curriculum, that this stuff has been able to happen. So get more involved, and please, I'm begging you. I never threw an event. I'm going to help throw an event in Jersey for Angela for her board meeting. If it's just people standing outside with some flags or some signs in support of what we're doing, I plan on getting more actively involved. I dedicated myself to being in this freedom fight, and I'm not going to just stop and tap out because things got cold or hard. We have people out there like Angela who, you know, it's so important to her what she's doing that she's risking, you know, trouble with the law and the military over this. So if she's willing to do it as a mom of an elementary school kid, I think we should all be motivated to get up and do something like this. Okay. So I'm going to end the stream for now. Thank you guys so much. I saw that Game Dev. Thank you for that super chat earlier. I saw it. I just, we had such a good thing going. I didn't want to stop. Brett and B and everybody, the mods, thank you so much for modding, and thank you for everything you guys did. Chat, thank you for staying civil. I wasn't able to read that much through it, but I'm loving you guys. All right, thank you so much for the support in here. And for the ones that did troll, I will make sure I personally come back into the liquor lounge that's down there, and I'll find you, and I'll make sure that we all return the favor to your channel. So, Jersey J out.